last October, I gave a talk here at Watford Fringe Festival, and I was asked to come back and speak again this year. And as it got closer to the date, I started to get really nervous, a little bit scared. Oh, what am I going to say? What have I actually done since last year? What are people going to think? And on my birthday, 20th of September, a few weeks ago, I sat down to do my Buddhist chanting that I do every morning, and I asked for help. I looked to my right and saw this beautiful drum, and I got an answer. Just tell a story. I was born in Glasgow and brought up in a small village in Lancashire. And in my late teens I started to play drums, and with some friends we set up a band together. We didn't have a clue what we were doing, but we learned our instruments together. We practiced 3 times a week. And over the next couple of years I took lessons, and I got books and magazines about drumming, and I'd play in my bedroom, play along to records to all these incredible drummers. And after a few years, we started talking about record deals and making it. And there was something inside me that said, there's got to be more to it than this. And the idea of music therapy came. And music therapy wasn't all that well known back then. The only university that I could find that offered a course was in a faraway, distant land called Roehampton. And they only taught at master's degree, master's level. And I had no formal education, so that was out of the question. And I put it to the back of my mind. In time, I left the band, I joined another band, left them. And with a friend I started up another band, and they sacked me, and I just had enough of bands. I went back to the idea of music therapy. And I looked into it. If I wanted to study English at a master's level, then I'd get an English degree, or at least study and try and get an English degree. If I wanted to study music therapy at master's level, then I'd have to try and get a music therapy degree, but that didn't exist. And that's when I decided I'll have to make my own up. And there's something called a joint degree, where you can study 2 or more subjects, combine them, and they'll be a qualification. And as far as I remember, my thinking was, if I study music and I think psychology or psychiatry, I'm not sure, combine them, that will give me the qualification that I need to go on and study music therapy. I actually got some offers from universities, but then I got a call to go and join a band who were going to sign a big record deal in London. And I thought, after all this, it's worth one last go. And if it doesn't work, I can come back to the idea of music therapy. So I packed my bags, like Dick Whittington, set off the bright lights of the big city. And we signed a big record deal, and we made the album with a big producer, and we played the big festivals. And then after 2 years, we were dropped by the label. Looking back, I'd say we were thankfully dropped. We didn't fulfill our potential, and we were complacent. And I can certainly say from my own perspective, we were not taking care of our bodies or our minds. But at the time I didn't see that, and I was angry. I was angry at the world. I was angry at life, but really, I was angry at myself. I got a job as the doorman at a large West End theatre, which was an interesting combination. An angry young northern man with large crowds of people every evening. And it brought some rather colourful interactions with certain customers and the ticket touts on the street, although we became really good friends with the touts, especially one of them. We became really good friends. There were certain people I found out that I would not get angry at. And they were people with disabilities. And to them I would download all my kindness. We started getting cards and letters. It became a standing joke with the management. We've got another one. And people were writing in about this lovely, kind man called David who helped us so much. They didn't see the other side of this angry, not very kind, not so nice David. But it led me to think, maybe this is something I can do. And I started applying for jobs. And I met a family. I started working with a son, a young man called Leo. He was a young man then. And Leo's got cerebral palsy. And he became his carer and his PA. And we were very good friends. We went on some adventures together. Became very good friends with the family. We went through a lot together. And after a year, he went to boarding school, so they didn't need me full-time anymore. Still pick him up on weekends, bring him home and then take him back. And we worked together in the holidays. But I started to drift a little bit. And I would go down to the South Bank with this beautiful little drum. I wasn't even really busking, I was more meditating, just trying to escape. And in 2009, I was really lost. And I thought, I need to ask someone for help. There's only one person I could think of, and that was Leo's mum, Marcia. I trust her as much as anyone. And I rang her up and I said, can I come speak to you? And she said, of course you can. And I'd intended going to the South Bank that day, so I had this drum with me. I got to the house and we sat down. She said, what's up? I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do. What shall I do with my life? I really don't know. I was like, just rambling. And she said, it's okay, calm down. Do something with your drums. I want to start running drumming groups. And she told me about a community centre that's quite close by. She said, go there now, go and speak to them. When I left the house that day, my life changed forever. I walked over to where she told me and I entered the place. I went into the place I thought she meant. But the gentleman said, no, it's across the road. But he said, is that your drum? And I said, yeah. He said, well, we run an open mic tomorrow night, come down. And I visited the place I'd intended to go to, and they were lovely. We never started a group, but I was really glad I went. Now that day I was as committed a smoker as ever. And I walked to Notting Hill to a coffee shop, ordered a coffee, rolled a cigarette, and I heard some music coming from outside. It was a percussionist and a bass player and someone doing spoken word. So I sat outside on the pavement, not on the pavement, on a table, on the pavement, on a chair, at a table. And I lit a cigarette and looked to my left. And it wasn't a trio, it was one gentleman. He was playing double bass and he was playing percussion on the fretboard and spoken word at the same time. And I thought, this is what it's like in Cuba. And I heard this voice, literally, that said, you don't need tobacco running through your veins anymore, you need music. You will be in Cuba on your 40th birthday and you will be there to study music. okay, I got the goosebumps. I put that cigarette out, walked over to the bin and threw away the tobacco, and I knew I would never smoke again. I went to the open mic the night after, and I was just sitting on the steps watching the band with the drummer. I really didn't know what to do. And there was someone standing next to me, and he said, "Are you a drummer?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I run an open mic. It's over in Cricklewood." He said, "Come along and bring the drum." So 2 nights later I went along to the open mic. And I'm going to use this phrase a couple of times, I think. I don't quite know how, but I came a part of the True Experience house band that evening. One of the drummers I used to practice to back in my early 20s was a gentleman called Richard Bailey. Now, Richard's an incredible drummer. He's played with Elton John and Jeff Beck. And I knew him from Incognito. I would just over and over practice with Always There and Beneath the Surface, 100 Degrees and Rising, just trying my best to just play what he was playing. And one night we were on a break at the open mic, and Hogan, the pianist, he said, "Dave, come on." I said, "What?" He said, "Have you seen who's behind me?" And I said, "No." He said, "Richard Bailey." I was like, "What?" And Richard Bailey's standing with Mickey, who mixed the saxophonist in the band. He played with Gonzalez and all these amazing bands in the 70s. So I'm like a little kid. We sat down again, first song, and Mick, the drummer, he said, "Come on, Richard." He sat in on there, playing the little drum next to Richard Bailey. There was a lady who came every week to sing, Brazilian lady, a beautiful voice. And she said to me one week, "Would you come and play? I've got a couple of showcases, I'm playing with Mick, and we'd love to come and play percussion." I said, "Yeah." "Would you learn a bossa nova rhythm?" I said, "I'll do my best." I went home that week, and it took me to the website of a gentleman called Chuck Silverman, who's now the late Chuck Silverman. And he was a highly esteemed teacher in California. And I went to the website, learned the bossa nova rhythm. Dun, 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 bum, 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 bum. And there was something else I saw. Cuba study program. So I clicked on the link, and this is what I read. Next study program, Havana. Starts September the 20th, my birthday. Again, I'm not quite sure how, but on the 19th of September, still gets me every time, I was picked up outside Jose Marti Airport in Havana. And the driver said, when I got in the car, he said, "You're here to study music?" I said, "Yeah." And "This is Cuba, music in the veins." I was like, a little bit of pidgin Spanish. I said, like, "No comprendo, señor, perdone." "This is Cuba, music in the veins." I thought he meant some district or a barrio in Havana that I hadn't heard of, and I said, "I'm sorry, I don't understand." And he laughed out loud and tapped his arm. "This is Cuba, music in the veins." And he was telling me, this is Cuba, music's in the veins. It took me back 6 months outside the coffee shop. You don't need tobacco running through your veins anymore, you need music. You will be there on your 40th birthday, and you'll be there to study music. And the day after, I went down to the foyer and met Chuck Silverman. We became really good friends that week. And Chuck had decided to take us to his friend's house so we could all get to know each other. And on the way, he bought a birthday cake, stopped off at the baker's. We got to the house and he lit some candles and I blew them out, we ordered a drink. And then we were standing outside getting to know each other. And it started to rain. We started going back in, we went farther out. We'd never experienced anything like it, like this tropical shower. And we got soaked through, but just as quickly, the rain went, the sun came out, we were dry again. And the seed was planted. I came back to London, and I was asked by a lady she ran a meditation group, and she asked me if I'd go and play percussion. She played harmonium, Indian keyboard. And again, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I think it was just the energy of the drum they liked. And after one of those sessions, I spoke to one of the participants and I said, have you ever thought about having a drumming group here? He said, I've been thinking exactly the same thing. And he arranged a meeting with Catherine, the manager. She said, let's give it a go. And she offered a 6-week contract with the review at the end. I had my first client. I only had one drum, but I had the first client. So I found a place I could hire, big djembes, and I'd carry 3 down on the tube, North London to West London on Sunday, carry another 3 on the Monday, run the group, take 3 home, come back the day after, run another 3. And they were heavy, but I had to make it work. After a couple of weeks, she said, I've got someone who'd like to meet you. He's the manager of the Priory. I thought, the Priory? Is that where all the celebrities go? And so I went to meet Dean Nicholson. Dean's the person who made the Priory what it is today. I sat in his office, this beautiful little drum. And I don't know, but he saw something that day. I'm not quite sure what, but he saw something. And I became the first ever music facilitator at the Priory Hospital. And the Priory Hospital is in Roehampton, right next door to Priory, Roehampton University. Where 20 years before I thought, out of the question, can't study there, it's a master's. I'll just have to make it up as I go along. They were my main clients for the next 7 years. I worked across different patient groups. But I don't remember many of those years. In May 2017, I was looking after my friend's house, Leo and Marcy's house. We were really good friends, and I'd look after the house and their little dog, Rufus. We were really good friends as well. We used to run together. And apparently she came home to find me very ill. I say apparently because I've got no memory. And a doctor came and diagnosed me with a bad case of flu. And a few days later, my condition deteriorated. Excuse me. And when I left the house again, my life changed forever. Only this time I didn't walk through the door. I was in a wheelchair and taken by ambulance to St Mary's Hospital in Paddington with what turned out to be an internal infection, Crohn's disease. And I've memorised this from the hospital notes. It led quickly to bacterial meningitis, encephalitis, and it says severe sepsis. Couldn't just be sepsis, it had to be severe, just for that extra bit of drama. And whilst I was in a coma, my sister would sit by the side of my bed and she said she'd just be pushed down the way. When the crash teams came rushing in. And one day she rang Mum and she said, he's going to go tonight. But for some reason, kept going, came out of it, must have still had something to do. And I was transferred after 5 weeks. And that's when my first memories come. I don't remember getting ill, I don't remember the first 5 weeks in hospital. Don't remember any of the 6 months of the year. And for a time I didn't remember anything about my life. But some songs started to come back to mind and I realised I'd written them. And then somebody showed me a website where I was playing drums. And I realised I'd been this musician. And that's when I found out about the Priory. And because I have epilepsy now as well, it was just surreal and this like deja vu, like a past life or something. And after 9 weeks I was discharged. I came home and I had carers come into the house twice a day. And I'd gone back into the flat and come across all these possessions of somebody else's, like a It was somebody else's life. His clothes and books and records. I couldn't understand whose they were, but I kind of knew they were mine. And I started to clear everything out. Sell anything that would sell. Anything I couldn't sell, I'd give it away. And anything I couldn't sell, I'd give away. I'd just destroy it and throw it away. Because it all just had to go. So when you have a brain injury, apart from the memory loss, there's an anxiety. And there's a lot of tears. And I felt like, I still do sometimes, I felt like I was an alien from another planet, or a little kid just been born, or a mixture of both of them. And I couldn't understand the world. It was like, why do we do these things? Why do we say things about each other like that? And I wouldn't say to any of the people I'd worked with at the Priory that I know how you feel. How can I say that to anyone? I know how you feel. But I can say I know how it feels. I know how it feels to be so scared. You'd have to create a new word to describe it, because fear doesn't come close. Just go to sleep every night and just almost wish you don't wake up in the morning. But with the help of the carers and Headway, the brain injury charity, East London, incredible charity, and a lot of therapy, things started to calm down. And the idea of doing something with the songs came. When I came out of hospital, I found some more that I'd written in the past. Although I don't remember writing them, I remember the stories. And I think that's all that matters. They gave me a reason. They gave me a purpose. They gave me a reason to live. And I decided to find a way, record them and release them. The first one was released this year. On May the 5th, 3 years to the day that I was taken to hospital and my past life ended, the new one began. And it's a duet with my friend Rebecca, who I met when she was a doctor at the Priory. And she visited me in hospital and brought cards from the patients and the staff. This is the song that grew from the seed that was planted all those years ago in Cuba on my 40th birthday, in the pouring rain. It's called Havana. To this evening, between dusk and dawn, come from where you came to find me, drumming up a storm, mixed our kindred spirits. We're drunk and feeling brave, and we stood outside in the pouring rain and felt like Havana. Washed away memories, were born again. Time Time stood still and we closed our eyes on a moonlit savannah. No need to run or hide away from pain. Going to this evening, messages dispatch. Go from where you came. We were attached as you prepared to leave. We dragged out goodbye, and we stood outside in the pouring rain. It felt like Havana. Washed away memories were born again. Time stood still and we closed our eyes on a moonlit savannah. No need to run or hide away from pain. We stood outside in the pouring rain. It felt like Havana. Washed away memories were born again and again and again and again. Time stood still, we closed our eyes on a moonlit savannah. No need to run or hide away from pain. Time stood still, we closed our eyes and then it felt like Havana. No need to run or hide away from pain. Felt like Havana. Thank you.
Thank you. Nothing else to say. Yeah, I've nothing else to say, like, I'm done. Finished.
Well, I just say,